Hey, where's everybody? Trying to start class, nobody's here. How am I supposed to teach if you're not here? Well, I'm kind of feeling that way. How am I supposed to do all this talking back and forth? How am I supposed to know that you're hearing me? How am I supposed to uh, change lessons to meet your needs if you're not here? This is online education. It's a little different now than it was, say, last semester, at the start of the semester or before that, when we weren't forced into online education, and we could plan courses for students who really wanted to take online courses. Right now, we're having to figure out how to do all this online education in really odd circumstances. Like, for instance, I've been trying to get to recording this video, trying to get to responding to even week one journal posts because I've been grading things in other classes, and my life has been chaotic. I have a 10-year-old at home, a 12-year-old at home, a 29-year-old who was living with us earlier this summer, a spouse, two dogs, two guinea pigs, and all the other responsibilities that go along with being at home on top of online meetings and technology and all this other stuff. And it's a bit chaotic. It's a bit hard to be able to organize all this information. And I've been teaching online for a long time. I can only imagine the difficulties that you are experiencing, the complexities of trying to do this online education as a college student who's just trying to learn about how to go to college, because you are in a first semester course of college, and learning about college is its own kind of difficulty. I want you to imagine last fall, before the virus, before all the problems happened, when a student at the University of Michigan got ready to go to her very first English 131 or Comp 1 course in September or whenever they started. She rolled out of her bed, maybe in her bunny slippers, maybe got out of her dorm, got a breakfast, and ran to school. That student at the University of Michigan has an awful lot of advantages that students at community colleges don't have, not the least of which she didn't have to drive on Evergreen or Telegraph or Southfield to try to get to school and find a parking place. Being a community college student is already a complex act. And then you add on top of it the idea of having to take courses online in this situation, when you may have technical difficulties at home, when you may have slow internet, when you may have children who are trying to sneak into the room as you're doing a lecture. You may have a dog barking in the background. You may not even have a space to do your own lecturing. You know, if I turn my computer and move off of this green screen, I can show you a whole lot of mess in my background that is my daily life, trying to live with a family and organize our lives. It's pretty frustrating. And if it's frustrating for me, a middle-aged man who's been doing online education for a very long time, who has gone to school and thought about this for a very long time, I can only imagine the frustrations for you. On top of this, you may be working. You may have family issues you have to take care of, family responsibilities, but you may also have your own anxieties about school, about what it means to be a college student. Sometimes college students feel like they don't really belong here. I once had a student who was talking about her frustrations with the class, and she was ready to just drop everything. She was ready to quit. And I asked her why, and she said, well, I didn't even want to be here. I was just driving past the school one day, and I saw that I could take sign up for classes, and I decided to pull in the parking lot, and I signed up, and I don't even know why. You may have lots of anxieties about whether or not you belong. You may be feeling overwhelmed. You may be feeling defeated if you get a grade back and you don't understand it, or you get an assignment and you don't understand it. You may have expectations of what school should have been based on a previous experience, and now that you're in a new class and a new situation, you're really frustrated by the experience. A lot of things happen when we're going to college. So what do we do about it? Well, there are a few things to do about it. Um, I want to give you 3 suggestions for, at the very least, surviving in your online coursework that you're doing right now, hopefully that you'll be doing in the fall, and then maybe in the spring, winter, depending on how things go. Or if you just decide to do online courses. Or even these suggestions will work if we all go back to normal in January of 2021 and we're all back on campus. These suggestions still matter. So how do you survive? There are 3 things you need to do. And I'm using a whiteboard because I so miss being in the classroom, and I love using a chalkboard. So I actually bought a whiteboard so I could do this on lectures sometimes. What should you do? Well, CEP first. Connect. You have to connect to your classes. I mean, that means logging in, but you also have to connect. You've got to be there. If you're not there, if you don't connect, you're not going to be successful at all. You're going to get further and further frustrated. If you don't check your classes, your online classes, every day or every other day, you may feel like you're starting to disconnect. And that feeling of connection is really important because it's very, very easy for us when we are doing school in our living rooms or in our bedrooms or in our closets, as some of my students have had to do because their big sisters won't shut up. If you are doing school in those places and then you walk out into your everyday life and it just takes you 2 steps to get into your everyday life, it is very easy to forget about that connection to school. You have to stay committed to connecting, to jumping into the class, seeing what people are posting, rereading things, studying, and doing the writing that you need to do. You must connect. Connecting alone is not enough. You also have to engage. That means not just only logging in, not only being there and seeing what's happening, but also participating. You've got to ask questions. You've got to be a part of what's going on. You've got to talk. And engaging is more than just meeting the minimal requirements for posting. You'll see that most of our discussion boards have minimal requirements for posting. That's not engaging. That's just doing busy work. In order to engage, you've actually got to feel like you are in part of a conversation. And the only way that happens is if you give yourself over to it. You allow yourself to feel like you're a part of a conversation. You care about what other people have to say and you reply to what other people have to say. That also goes with your writing. If you feel like you're just doing busy work for your writing assignments for English 131 and you're not engaged in them, that writing's often going to be lifeless and meaningless. You have to engage in what you're trying to say, understand what your audience needs, and make decisions as a writer that makes that writing effective. Which leads us to our next thing. You have to produce. You may be a lovely student. And I've had very lovely students in my classes before in a face-to-face setting who were the most charming people you can imagine, who were funny, who were kind, who were passionate. I've had social justice warriors and I've had comedians. I've had all different kinds of students that were really charming, who never produced anything and did not pass the class. And it's never my goal to not pass somebody. But if a student is not producing, there is nothing I can do to move that student forward. You have to produce. You have to meet your deadlines and you have to put something in. If you can do that while you're also connecting and engaging, if this can be a meaningful experience for you, college will become less anxious. All these feelings you may be having about college right now will start to subside, and you will start to feel normal here, that college is something that you should be doing, that you matter, that you belong here. Before we leave this lecture, I want to go to a few resources here on the college website that might be useful for you. So I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to go to the college website. There's a lot of resources on campus that are useful for you. Of course, we're not on campus, so what do? Well, we still have done our very best as a faculty at this college to make sure that all these things you see down here in this picture of our campus, the buildings that you could go to, that we could reproduce those as best as we can on an online setting. So this is our homepage, hfcc.edu. And at the very top of it, you'll see this green bar. I'm going to click on Student Resources. And when I click on Student Resources, I see that there are a lot of different possibilities for resources and what I need. We covered some of these very early in the semester when I sent you some information. But how do you succeed in online courses? Well, there's some resources here. And there's a tutorial, and you can get help. And you still need more help, you can contact the help desk. For how you get student support services, there's help there. Admissions, advising, assisted learning services, campus life, a whole lot of different possibilities there. We're going to cover some of those in just a moment. We even offer some help with food assistance and provide you some resources for that. We offer some possibilities for getting computer or internet access at home. There is a lot of help available on this campus, on this virtual campus. So all those anxieties that you may feel about going to college, those are things that you have to work out at the time. But little anxieties, little stresses, or big stresses, like you don't have enough food on your table, can really impact your ability to be successful. And looking and seeking out the resources that you can find to help you might help you lessen those anxieties so that you can be successful. Let's go to a couple of the resources up here to help you see what is available to you as a student. I'm just going to go to a random one, and I don't teach public speaking, but let's go to the Public Speaking Lab. The Public Speaking Lab was a resource created by our speech instructors to help students do speaking assignments for their courses. Obviously, we're not in our classrooms. We can't do speeches in classes. However, we're still doing speech. And so our speech instructors have recreated this public speaking lab to help students with the speaking that they're doing. And from what I understand, you can actually get this help by going online and contacting the instructors down here at the bottom of the screen. Let's go to counseling. Our counseling services are full personal counseling for students. They can help you deal with any number of issues that you might be dealing with, including depression or anxiety, dealing with abuse in the home, dealing with food insecurity, dealing with feeling overwhelmed. Now, many of the things that they're trying to help you with have to do with your academic work and how can we make sure you're being successful. But really, you can't be successful if you are under great physical or emotional strain in other places in your life. So we offer a counseling office. And you can go to our webpage here, and you can see a whole bunch of different personal services we have. We have career counseling and individual counseling. There's personal crisis intervention, inside peer mentoring program. We have a number of wonderful counselors who are thoughtful, loving, and helpful people. They're all right here. I highly recommend you track one of them down if you are dealing with any of the emotional or stressful aspects of school and trying to figure that out. I'm going to show you one other resource here. And this is one that I know very well because I actually was one of the professors who started this program. Professor Daniel, one of the other out professors this semester, was one of our respondents in this program. This is the Writing Center. Our writing center is normally in the Ushamal Library, in a room where you could stop in and you could talk to somebody about your writing, and they would work with you on any writing assignment. Since we can't do that right now, you can go to our online writing center, and you can go to WC Online and make an appointment, and you can actually meet one-on-one with the respondent to talk about your writing. So I highly encourage you to take whatever assignments you have for English 131 or any other writing assignment and take it to the Writing Center and talk with them about what you're doing. Now, the Writing Center is not an editing place. They won't look at your writing and tell you what you're doing wrong, but it is a place where you can think more about your writing and how you're trying to be successful with it. Again, all of these resources are pretty easy to find. You go back to our student resources page and you click on you go back to our homepage, our HFCC homepage, click on the student resources website, and then go find the issue you have where you're trying to find more information. So the student support services page, link was right there in the middle of it, and you can find help that you need. English 194 is designed as a course to help you get through English 131. But one of the things that we have found in teaching this course and in teaching English 131 is that students often need help, not just with writing, but with thinking about how to be a student. Because you can't really write effectively in a situation unless you know who you are within that situation. And one of the realities of college is that you've got to learn what it means to be a student. We have many resources on campus to help you do that, to help you feel like a full member of this community, but also to help you feel safe and welcome and confident in what you're doing. I encourage you to seek out those resources so that you can continue to connect and engage and produce in our course. Got some reading to do for this week. You've got a couple of writing things to do for this week for English 194. And then, of course, you've still got your English 131 work going. I look forward to seeing you online. Take care.